Hey everybody, John Felt here, and this is the Blue Water Outlook weekly weather briefing for the 14th of July, right here in the middle of July. And the theme of this briefing is hot and humid in many areas. Let's get started with today's briefing. I got a lot to talk about. First off, let's look at the weekly weather threats, and anything in here in red and pink, these are heat advisories or warnings. Looks like a lot of hot conditions with high heat and humidity. And that's going to be extending throughout the week. A few severe storms here and there over the upper Midwest. Now, the story last week was Hurricane Beryl. It originated way out here, came through and intensified within the Caribbean. This is a Category 5, moved across the Yucatan Peninsula, and it sort of pulled it apart. Tropical storm going through the Gulf, and then a Category 1 hurricane at landfall. Look at the stripe of rain, and this shows how this hurricane, inland moving tropical systems and hurricanes can move, transport tropical moisture well inland. And even as this weekend, we still have 1 million outages, power outages near the Houston area. Now, other than Tropical Storm Beryl, there was some heavy rain along the east coast, the mid-Atlantic region. That's about it. Take a look at the western U.S., it was bone dry. Now, as far as temperatures go last week, areas in green were below normal, and the west above normal. And keep that in mind that the west is going to be really going through a heat wave as we get through the rest of July. I'll be talking about that. Now, there's also the hottest temperatures last week. This area of green here was only in the 80s, this sort of teal colored. So some parts of the nation, most of the week, until the weekend anyway, had a pretty nice week as far as temperatures go. Now, the dew points in the 70s, that's not unusual for mid-July, but there is some mugginess in the air in a number of areas. You combine that with the heat, and it is quite hot. Now, you might be interested in the flooding on the upper Mississippi, and it's starting to come down, and it's going to be coming down quite a bit quicker this week. And you can see here, this is St. Louis. Look how quick that's going to be dropping this week. And we lose all this volume of water out of the Mississippi. It's going to take a lot to get back up there. So big improvements this week, and that's probably pretty much it for this most recent flood event. Okay, now as far as what's causing our weather, a big dome, heat dome of high pressure over the western U.S. But look at that area of low pressure in Canada. And what we're going to have by the end of the week is a amplified flow, a buckling of the jet stream. And if you're in the eastern U.S., you're under the dip in the jet stream, or the Midwest, I should say. If you're in the western U.S., you're in a pretty intense ridge of high pressure. So what does that mean? I think you probably know, and that means that if you're under the ridge, it is going to be unusually hot. And other areas in the central U.S., it is going to be a great reprieve to summer heat, and it's going to be 10 or 15 degrees below normal. Okay, now let's take a look at the heat risk, and you can see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday how the extreme temperatures in red is the second highest, purple is the highest. Purple is really a dangerous combination of heat and humidity, and you can see how it gradually shifts from the Midwest to the Southeast and the Mid-Atlantic and maybe the East Coast over the week as we go through the next several days. Now, I do want to mention that if you look back at the historical record, you can definitely find other Julys that have been really hot. This was 1954, and the Dust Bowl years, 1936. Look at this. This was an average high temperature in 1936. Now, there's a group, Climate Central, that produces what is called the climate shift, and they examine the historical record compared to forecast temperatures, and they compute statistically whether the high temperature is outside the range of what would be expected based on the historical record. Areas in red are saying that that's outside that range, and that they attribute to a warming climate. Anything in the tropics looks pretty quiet, and you know what? That is not unexpected. Where we get a big system that blows up, we think it's going to just go right on, and then it stays quiet because we are not in that peak of hurricane season yet. Okay, as far as rain goes this week, it looks like the mid-Atlantic region is going to get some heavy rain. little bit of monsoon rain in the southwest. And other than that, I think it looks pretty quiet as far as rainfall goes. Let's take a look at week 2. That cooler air seems to linger. And look at this, right along Texas, looks like we could get in somewhat of a wet period. I'm looking at the upper Midwest. I don't see any rain. That's why I have high confidence that those rivers are going to continue to fall. Okay, to end the briefing again, it looks like the biggest threat this week is going to be high heat and humidity from the Midwest and then shifting to the east. If you're in the Midwest, Great Lakes, a couple days of really high heat, but relief is on the way. Have a great week, and I'll be talking with you again next weekend. Take care.